Hey guys, Dennis Mockin here. Thanks for hanging out. Today's reaction, because as a request from Crafter Games, this is Crypt TV's Sunny Family Cold Slaughter Creepypasta featuring Margbot. Before I get into the rest of my intro, I would like to remind you guys that I would like to do a subscriber Q&A if I get enough response from you guys. So whatever you guys want to know, whether it's stuff from my personal life or YouTube, anything goes, leave that all in the comment section below, or you can hit me up on Twitter at DanisMachina. Now, please like, share, and subscribe because I put out new videos every single day and every little bit of support helps. And without any further ado, LEGGO.
Evening, hon, Bethany chimed.
How was work?
He responded in an unenthusiastic manner. I know you don't actually want to know, James, so don't pretend to care.
Wow,
She teased.
seems to be some issues here.
Besides, we have more important matters to handle tonight. Why haven't you gotten dressed? You know it's ritual night tonight.
Ritual night?
James sighed as he rose from the couch.
Do you think they will actually have someone for us to slaughter tonight?
Oh, right, because
Well,
right.
they can't exactly
I
just
knew that.
continue picking up people from within town, now can they? It would become too obvious that people would be missing. I was talking to Heather about the issue, and I think I have a solution for it. An easy one at that. I doubt Andrew would be willing with his recent high horse attitude, but I don't really care at this point.
Oh.
Jeez, Betty, relax. You're way too high-strung about it. We aren't the first set of members, and we won't be the last. You know I love it when you're angry. Especially while in your ritual clothes.
That's a little weird.
Why do I bother with you? You're all about the kill, but you don't seem to grasp the real meaning of all our hard work. Remember, we introduce chaos to disrupt the banality of life, to make aware what is truly important. I swear Andrew
By
only
killing
brought you
people.
in because you may as well be a lumberjack.
Are you ready to go? We're gonna be late.
He responded quietly.
Late to
sounding
killing
hurt.
things.
Yeah, I'm ready for another evening full of excuses, she grumbled.
Full of death.
As
Lots
they
and lots
drove
of
up
death.
the ranch-style house, they noticed that there were fewer vehicles than usual. See? The people are already starting to slack with their attendance. I'm going to take charge of helping us acquire new deserving targets for the ritual.
You keep going on about this. I know you were just itching to tell me what your grand master plan is.
She took that opportunity to step out of the vehicle and awkwardly accept the hug Darlene was holding her outstretched arms for. This was probably the most unsettling part of the whole meeting. It wasn't the fact that they stabbed people to death or strangulated them, but rather the potluck aspect that preceded the ritual.
Oh.
The dining room table was always filled with food beforehand.
Well, that's
There was
nice.
Vicky's smoked ham, Jimmy's scalloped potatoes, and James' prize-winning rhubarb pie.
Ooh.
Bethany always showed up with the drinks. She was no housewife.
Sounds like a
no
nice
cook.
party.
She was the local dentist.
Outside of all the
Beyond
death.
that, no one knew too much about her. She didn't even know what made the family invite her for the first time to begin with. The extent of their interaction was that she was Darlene's dentist.
Oh.
Everyone piled inside of the now cleared-out family room.
Welcome, everyone. I hope you have all had a productive month. First, I must thank all of you wonderful folks that contributed to our feast tonight. Everything looks delicious, per usual.
Andrew, the host and head of the chapter, called out. It involves the internet. Bethany whispered to James while Andrew tried to move the attention from the question of the sacrifice back to the food.
What does?
One glare from her was all it took for him to understand that she had gone back to the pretentious plan.
Oh. So can you please stop beating around the bush and just tell me already? This is getting annoying. I know how much you love to hype things up, but you're starting to bore me.
Ooh.
By that point,
That's harsh.
everyone was starting to disperse, and most were lined up at the dining room table ready to eat. She pulled him outside to the garden. The moon was half full, and the air was beginning to get chilly early in the evenings, since summer was coming to an end. Andrew's home was unremarkable. It was just another home in a small suburb. 2 stories, 3 bedrooms, no kids.
Nothing wrong with
The
that.
basement had seen plenty of activity in the last few years. A rummy tournament, a ping pong showdown,
Ooh,
a
ping pong.
sacrifice here and there. The walls of the basement had never been stained with blood. Darlene, Andrew's wife, made sure of it.
I want to play ping pong now.
But the floor couldn't be helped at times. Bethany focused on the gardenias that were failing to bloom in the yard. Do you know how easy it is to meet people on the internet?
Yeah, Einstein, tell me something I don't know.
Jeez.
If you're going to propose that we lure someone off the internet, then you are lost. We have discussed this as a family for months. Jeez, for a second I thought you might actually have a novel idea.
Would you just listen before you make any rash judgments?
Wow.
I'm not talking about going on the internet and luring some sap off a regular dating site. I'm talking about going a little deeper.
Deep
The
web?
last part was barely audible even to James, who was standing next to her. I've been doing some research on the deep web.
Oh,
They
okay.
have their own version of dating sites down there. You find some really putrid and disgusting excuses for humans on there.
I can imagine so on the deep web.
Playful tone was now frigid, matching the look in his eyes while he stared down at her.
What were you doing on a dating site, Bethany?
Really?
Ba ba ba!
That's what you're going to focus on. Out of everything I just told you, that is what you are hung up on? Silence filled the air as one of the family members waved to them from inside. Both quickly feigned their brightest smile back at him. Through the fake smile, she broke the silence. First of all, I was not looking for anyone to hook up with in the deep web. You already know what I go on there for, and it isn't to replace what I already have at home. She blurted out. Being vulnerable was not something she was good at or cared to do often. The wind was beginning to pick up, and the trees in the backyard were rustling too much for comfort. It gave both of them the feeling that they were being watched by something hiding in the dark. Back to the issue we were discussing, she continued as they moved back into the house and into the dining room now that most of the members had made their rounds through the table. I was on the deep web making my usual rounds, and some guy under the name Goon324 PM'd me asking if we had met out in the abyss. Before you roll your eyes at me, trust me, I know how it sounds. How corny was that name? I thought the same thing. I was curious though, so I indulged the loser for the sake of the entertainment brought to me by a pathetic deep web dweller. I responded that it was quite possible because I run through many addresses on the web. He responded by sending me the link. I already knew that whatever he was referring to I had never visited. You know me, I don't socialize in the deep unless it's for business. James listened intently while they stood in the corner of the dining room nibbling on some muffins. To
Still
anyone
nibbling on those
observing them, It
muffins.
must have looked like they were having fun with whatever they were discussing.
Must be some pretty good
He took a
muffins.
sip of the strawberry lemonade and
Ooh,
responded
strawberry
by
lemonade! I want some of
smiling
that.
at one of the family members who was across the room.
Sorry. Sidetracked.
Okay, and...
Well, I should have not been surprised, but truthfully I was. It was a deep web dating site, online cafe. Whatever weird fetish you are into, they have groups to help you find a significant other.
Oh.
One doesn't really think about the deep web as a centralized anything. I mean, I know they have their cannibal websites and their crush lovers, but I was surprised to find it all conveniently
normal
located
stuff.
in one place for them to find each other. It was some morbid and twisted version of matching in Cupid. Bethany shuddered at the thought of all the freaks in one place.
Ah, so this is where you want to acquire the sacrifices.
Yes, Captain Obvious, that is the place. What better place to reach people that need to be taught the value of life than the cesspool that is the dark web?
I mean,
She ardently declared.
I guess there
A
are
few
worse
family members were
places.
starting to shoot suspicious glances their way. Andrew called out to everyone. The evening went by as both Bethany and James expected it to.
I mean, being part of this cult, if you're gonna kill anybody, might as well be somebody who's not really a good person, even though I'm trying to justify death, but whatever, let's continue.
Another month and no sacrifice. Bethany knew that she had to implement her plan before more family members drifted away. The following night, James found Bethany with her laptop out. Ready, babe? She pulled up the Onion browser. Look, since I know you're territorial, how about you talk to these losers instead of me? You probably know more of what they want to hear than I do. He pondered that for a second before vigorously nodding like a child.
I mean, that makes sense.
Sure. I'll be sure to make this fun.
He smiled mischievously. Okay, well, you do your thing and I'll go catch up on my Hulu. If you need anything, just let me know. 30 minutes.
What do cult leaders and sadistic killers watch on Hulu, I wonder?
Later, he had his victim, which just so happened to be Mr. Goon. He handed her the laptop. White letters shone on the dark screen detailing all sorts of obscene acts and describing the connection he felt with James, disguised as Annie 720. Bethany read the glowing screen. Chat log. Annie 720. Hey there, fancy seeing you around these parts. Goon 324. Do I know you? Annie 720. Yeah, we talked on the Silk Road remains. Goon 324. Annie 720. You thought we had met on here before because my avatar seemed familiar? Goon 324. You're into the Bitcoin trade, right?
Oh, crypto.
Annie 720. Funny how you call it that. Yeah, I guess I am. Goon 324. So what's good? Were you looking for some of my goods? Annie 720. That depends on what you mean. Huh? Annie 720. What are you into anyway? What kind of partner are you looking for on here? What's your fix? Goon 324. A little bit of torture here and there, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
Annie 720. Fun. If only you were closer, then we might be able to have some fun.
If only he knew.
Goon 324. Closer. You don't even know where I am. I could be watching you through the window right now as we speak. Mwahaha. Annie 720. Nah, I know more about you than you realize. You're approximately 300 miles away from me.
Oh.
Goon 324. How you know that? You freak.
I mean, it's the deep web. The fact that you're there, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility for the person you're talking to not being able to know where you are.
That's not cool. Annie 720. You know, for someone who dabbles with dealing on here, you sure are careless. Goon 324. Nah, I have all the proxies. No one has ever been able to find me, and many have tried. Trust me. All have failed. Until you. What advanced hacking sorcery have you performed? Annie 720. Yeah, I could show up at your house right now and you would be none the wiser until I had you tied up and squealing like a pig. LOL.
Damn.
Goon
It's graphic.
324. Oh, you know me too well already. Bethany had seen enough. She closed the laptop. The conversations continued on a daily basis for the next 2 weeks until James, posing as Annie 720, convinced the fool known as Goon 324 to drive 280 miles to meet Annie at a coffee shop 2 towns away. The day of their meeting, Bethany, aka Annie,
It's a long way to drive to meet somebody.
chose to wear a golden-haired wig and a simple bun, and a tight-fitting burgundy dress. A bit overdressed for the venue, but she had plans of taking him elsewhere. He found her sitting within the cafe already, even though he was 10 minutes early.
Annie?
He asked in an unsure tone. I'm better known as Jacqueline in these parts, she responded with fake cheer in her tone. She thought it was better to not use her name. Before
probably.
Bethany stood a man about 5'7", small in frame with dark brown eyes and straight black hair. He seemed clean but had an air to him of inner turmoil. No one would have guessed by seeing him in person that he dealt hard synthetic drugs in the confines of the deep web.
Jesus.
He had more of an accountant feel to him than a criminal that helped ruin lives. That's not to include everything he did to the women he slept with.
Ugh.
They went through the motions of niceties and the usual first date banter. He ordered a macchiato while she pretended to sip on her green tea. She could tell right away that he already had goo-goo eyes for her. She could have suggested that they go anywhere in the world and he would have followed her. Which is why, to no one's surprise, he excitedly agreed when she asked him to go back to her place. She
Damn.
would drive. Of course, she would not be taking him into her home. She had borrowed one of the rental properties that one of the members of the family owned.
Oh, that's
A
smart.
nice, lonely duplex far from anyone that could hear it, since the surrounding properties were being remodeled.
I mean, if you're gonna kill anybody, that's probably the way to do it.
As they drove from the city, Tony's car, that was the name that she had been given by him, even though it wasn't his true name, was being driven into the bad part of town to be picked apart by the local scrappers in the morning.
Nice place you got here. How long have you lived here?
Enough with the meaningless chatter. That's not why you came here.
I'm surprised you were willing to meet me on your own, when we met in the most vile place on the planet.
He responded, changing the tone of the conversation. He was beginning to sound suspicious.
Aren't you afraid I might be some murderer or human trafficker? Those are a dime a dozen in the deep web. Plus, do my inclinations not scare you?
Yes, he was definitely getting suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
They would not be able to let him escape, and he would meet his end at the edge of an axe. A beheading was not something she was prepared for. Oh, I'm sure I've gotten to know enough about you to know that I have dealt with worse wolves than you.
Oh.
I was willing to meet you alone because I know that you are no real threat to me.
Oh,
She
calling
now
him
placed
his
her
bluff.
coat on a chair and slipped a vial of GHB into her sleeve. She stepped into the kitchen and poured the entire vial into a tiny hole that her now hiding boyfriend had pre-drilled into the scotch bottle with a syringe. She knew Tony had a strong affinity for scotch and would end up drinking it one way or another. "Would you like a glass of scotch?" she asked while making it a point to show him the empty glasses. He may have been dumb for some things, but she did not want to take any risks that he would sense any reason to be suspicious. The less hassle, the better.
The company of a beautiful woman and a fine scotch. Who would say no?
He walked towards her and took the bottle from her.
I will do the honors of pouring the drinks, since you provided the scotch.
Oh.
She knew he was just testing the bottle to see if it was open. He smiled innocently when the seal broke. "If you say so, I made sure to buy the good stuff." They sat on the couch while some jazz played in the background. She thought it would help him give in to the effects of the drug faster, so she could get the charade over with. She did not want it to go any further than the living room, and James would probably kill the guy too soon if he made too much of a move on her.
Probably.
He was listening and watching everything from the guest room through the hidden cameras. He moved in to kiss her, and for the first time that evening she was truly nervous. She thought that hopefully James would just allow it to happen, without running in to stab him. She waited a few seconds to see if he would be entering the room with the axe, but nothing happened. She gently pushed him aside, making her excuses that she needed to go to the restroom. She had had one sip of the glass and was starting to feel the effects of it,
Uh-oh.
which meant that he had to be passing out soon since he had had a full glass. Just as she suspected, by the time she returned to the living room, he was unconscious on the couch.
Oh.
James was already busy duct taping his feet over the black bag for easy transport.
No.
"We did it, babe."
Plan is working
She said.
perfectly.
We sure did. But are you feeling okay? You seem a bit unsteady.
"Yeah, I had to take a sip of the scotch so he would not get suspicious." Down Bethany went onto the couch, barely holding her eyes open.
I'll be back for you in a sec, sweetheart. I have to throw the goods in the car.
He yelled back, as he threw Tony's body over his shoulder. As Andrew placed the bag in the trunk, he heard groans coming from within and noticed some slight movements. In a panic, he picked up the crowbar and brought it down, immediately regretting his decision. He wondered if he had killed the man and everything would have been a waste. He went back inside for Bethany, and while he placed her in the car, he heard movement in the back.
Uh-oh.
Great. He's still alive.
He mumbled. Now they just had to drive back to Andrew's house, and everything would be over. Andrew greeted James warmly when he stepped through the threshold of the house with the bag. After everyone was finished with their ritual meal, they made their way down to the basement. The wall was covered with plastic tarps. Everyone was ready with their masks in hand. The sacrifice was struggling and moaning beneath the bag that had been placed over his head. Everyone was waiting to take a stab at him as he sat secured to the chair.
Oh boy.
Andrew's voice boomed out to the crowd with his usual speech of the importance of the family and the vision behind it all. He asked Bethany to the center so that she could be the one to initiate the ritual. Thank you, Andrew. However, I feel in the spirit of togetherness and humility that I should give this honor to my partner, James. Under the guise of one looking for a lover, I found this excuse of a human being. She pulled off the bag and forced Tony to look at her anger-filled eyes. Selling drugs to those seeking to disconnect from this world through the haze of opiates and hallucinogenics. We are here to remind others of their mortality and what it means to be alive, what is truly important. Tears began to stream down Tony's face. Just then, all of the members placed the burlap masks over their faces.
Oh dear.
The crew
Here it
with
comes.
black spray-painted smiley faces on them made Tony cry even louder. She handed the dagger to James, which he gratefully took with a menacing grin. With one swift thrust, he plunged it into Tony's stomach.
Ooh.
His cry was stifled by the rag tied around his mouth. As he stabbed him again, James whispered into his ear.
And this one is for kissing my girlfriend.
Oh snap.
The still weak Bethany stepped behind Tony and pulled his head back so that his eyes met hers. While holding a dagger to his throat, she declared, "This one is for the women you have taken by force. I know everything about you, including your need to destroy the women you sleep with." Everyone joined in on the ritual soon, each one plunging their sharp weapon of choice into the victim. A puddle of blood and a maimed Tony remained after it was over. The faces of the family beamed once the ritual had ended. It had been much too long since their last killing. Now, they had no reason to fear ever having to wait such a long time until the next time. After all, the world needed the reminder that the family provided them with. The deep web was vast enough to provide them with the star of their next sacrifice, and the ones after that. Their chapter of the Sunny family cult would never be dry.
Damn. That one sent chills. Like literal chills just went down my spine as soon as the whoosh happened. So, that was incredibly creepy. Though, I guess if you're gonna, have any sort of sacrifice or kill anybody, you might as well kill somebody as, messed up as this person was. So, that'll do it for this reaction. Please leave a like if you enjoyed it. Again, comment down below. Let me know if you have any sort of questions for me, and let me know what you thought about this creepypasta. Share this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, ring the notification bell. I put out new videos every single day, and every little bit of support helps. And I'll see you guys